Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, it would appear as if Donald Trump plays longer games. The man just seems to be completely diametrically opposed to everything politicians stand for. Mostly, when you hear politicians speak, they'll just blurt out whatever position they have. They'll try and circumvent and maybe move a couple of things in the shadows. But for the most part, if politicians want to go to war, they'll just say, yeah, we're going to invade at this date and hour, and that will be the end of it. Donald Trump appears to be a man that plays his cards much closer to his chest. All of you will remember the now famed or infamous meeting between Cyril Ramaphosa and President Trump at the White House earlier this year. During this meeting, Ramaphosa acted the fool, as he pretty much always does. Whenever Donald Trump brought up instances of farm attacks, farm murders, genocide, the calls of genocide, Ramaphosa acted as if this might literally be the first time he's ever heard anything like this. In the office of the president, Ramaphosa said that as the ANC, they completely distance themselves from these singings. They don't sing it. It's actually the opposition parties. But of course, as soon as Ramaphosa got home, he immediately started defending the songs, saying these are struggle songs and people should move the hell on. You had Steenhuisen also touting and sort of echoing the lies from Ramaphosa, as he also said that there is absolutely no problem, none whatsoever, despite the fact that Steenhuisen has, since the year 2020, said on numerous occasions, before, of course, he got into government, how absolutely abhorrent these attacks on farmers actually is. So, all that aside, Donald Trump remained quiet. He listened. He listened to the retorts. He listened to all of the people speaking. And fundamentally, it sort of fizzled out. He was basically saying, well, we'll keep taking refugees. And then we didn't hear anything else until today, where the DRL, the Bureau of Democracy, Human Rights and Labor, they are a department or a sub-department within the State Department, had some choice words for the South African government. It turns out that they were in South Africa. So in support of POTUS's executive orders, DRL just returned from a trip to South Africa to learn more about rural farm attacks and the breakdown of rule of law. Here's what we found. Now, I won't go into every single one of these because a lot of it is just stuff that you and I already know. So they note, and this is actually quite nice, they actually do note that while, yes, crime is massive in South Africa, these farm attacks take on a very specific sort of bend. There's something uniquely evil about the way in which these farm attacks are actually carried out. Then you have, them actually sharing the amount of farm attacks in 2022 to 2023, showing how murders and farm attacks remain literally consistent across the board. Nothing ever changes, right? So nothing ever gets better. No one seems to be, at least in the government, no one seems to make any real effort to change these things, right? For example, what they found was, you look at 2022, you see that there were 50 murders, 339 attacks. Then you look at 2024 and you realize, but that's just, 2023, that's 49 murders and 296 attacks, which tells you the attacks and the murders do not link up. The murders appear to be the main goal. And then you have in 2024, the murders are right back up to 55. So clearly, it doesn't show any signs of slowing down. If anything, it might actually be speeding up as we go. Okay, so they release this information. Then they find these are not ordinary crimes. In some documented cases, report details victims tortured or killed without anything being stolen. We've discussed this before. In a notable 2023 incident, assailants chanted, "Kill the boer, kill the farmer," as they stabbed their victim. Now, none of this is new. Just to be clear, none of this is new. None of this should be new. This, I believe, is Donald Trump sending his own government and representatives from his own government and saying, look, go find the evidence. Go tell me if what I've been hearing, if what I've been seeing is actually real and true. That's what I want to know. So they're not going to come up with bombshell revelations. They're not going to come up with bombshell new information. That wasn't the point. The point was to confirm what has been said by others. Now, this of course leads us to the question, is South Africa actually in a genocide? is there a genocide against white people? And my answer always to this is, what do you determine genocide to mean? If you mean millions upon millions of people dead in a 24-hour window or a weekly window, then no, obviously not. There's no genocide here. But if you look at the principle of what a genocide is the complete and utter replacement of a specific group of people within a specific area, be that because of their race, their religion, their sexuality, whatever that might be. Even if I just moved in and forcibly removed these people and put them on a boat and sailed them off to some other country, I have still technically committed genocide because that group of people is now no longer there. That culture is now no longer there, right? So on that basis, I would argue what we definitely have in South Africa is persecution. There is most definitely racial persecution within this country. If you're white, getting a job is nearly impossible. If you're white, there are certain things that you just cannot say. If you're black, you can say whatever you want against white people. Very recently, quite literally just within the last few weeks, we had a guy at his bar that had pictures of President Zuma, President Ramaphosa, as well as, I think it was Paul Mashatile, but it could actually have been Fikile Mbalula. But he had these pictures of the current leadership of the ANC, and people could piss right on them. He got arrested for that, and he is now going on trial. They are actually prosecuting him. However, if you're Julius Malema and you're singing Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer, no problem. If you're an actual podcaster in this country and you call white people non-human, below human, subhuman, nothing ever happens, right? So in South Africa, if you're black, you can say whatever you want about white people. If you're white, you better watch out. You look at a black person wrong, you might actually be in trouble. And that, I think, is the crux of the problem. We might not live in full-blown genocide, but racial persecution is alive and well. And in my opinion, I think Donald Trump has reached the point where he sees the trouble, he sees the writing on the wall, and he will not be the president of the United States of America whilst there is an actual genocide being enacted in South Africa. I think this is him sort of looking out ahead and saying, look, I'm going to intervene before we get there. Because the kind of rhetoric we hear, the fact that the ANC continuously blames white people for their problems, continuously blames apartheid for their problems, the fact that Julius Malema continuously sings Kill the Boer, Kill the Farmer, the fact that you now have the MK joining in One Settler, One Bullet, all of this is language that you hear prior to an actual genocide taking place. And I think that's what President Trump has had enough of. But we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. As always, I will keep you guys apprised of everything. Let me know in the comment section down below. Where do you land on this? Do you think we're in a genocide? Do you think, no, maybe racial persecution is a better fit? I'd love to read your thoughts. Then, if you like what I do, if you think that there is value in people seeing this content, please consider hitting the like, hitting that subscribe button, and also leaving a comment, because engaged viewers do actually matter. To all of the patrons and the YouTube members, thank you so much for your support. You guys make it possible for me to continue doing what I'm doing. To become a patron, link in the description down below, or hit the join button right below this video. As always, be good to each other, be kind to each other, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace.